Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts, and today we are going to be talking about nobody cares. It's up to you. Today's podcast is definitely something that I'm excited to share about. As this is just kind of one of them podcasts where something that's been heavy on my heart, something that I've been going through, in this last year and a half to 2 years, and trying to teach my youth athletes about life. And, I know the other day someone on the live that I was doing on TikTok, they made a comment that, something to the effect of all you talk about is athletes going to the pros. And I just kind of laughed. And when you're on live, you can't really call someone out because there's a lot of people watching. But I kind of said, man, obviously you don't know me real well. All of us would love for our athletes to play in the pros. All of us would love to see our athletes be all Americans at whatever sport that it is that they're playing. But one of the things that I've tried to do is teach my boys character, becoming a better person. All these different things is what matters most and foremost. I know the percentages of athletes that go from high school ball to college ball to pro athletes, and I'm telling you, it's a small percentage, okay? But one of the things that it's really hard on my heart, or something that's really concerning to me, can I step away when my boys are in college, which I've got one that's a senior right now, about to be going into college, and say, you know what, he is an outstanding young man. I've had people all of my life since I was, had my boys 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, compliment my boys, which they're not perfect. Now, if you're listening and you think I'm ignorant to think that my boys are perfect, then you're definitely not understanding what I'm trying to say. But they would make a comment, you have good kids, and I would always comment back, well, thank you very much. But my most important thing that I want to do is raise good young men. Let's go! And today I want to share with you what I think can help you do the same with your athletes and the same in your life. When you think about no one cares, it's up to you. What does that mean to you? And I want to try to go through some notes now and try to do a good job of saying it's only up to you. So I'm going to speak from the heart here today as a guy that's 49, will be 50 in April. And, I've seen a lot of adults never chase their dreams because they're paralyzed by fear of what others think. And that's going to be the meat of the conversation today. So I want to set the tone by saying this episode is about you owning your path, building character, and teaching our kids to do the same. So why this message matters to me. I'll tell you, parents, even those in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, they still live their lives for approval of others. And, I'm still conscious of that from time to time, or guilty of that from time to time. I would say I pretty much broke that curse in my mid 30s overall. But I'm still just amazed of how many people still live their lives for approval of others. And that's one thing I've really been trying to teach Pearson, my senior, lately. What college is it that you want to go to, son? Why do you want to go there? It doesn't matter how it looks on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Where do you think would be a good starting point for your college career? What community or area that you like to be in? He loves to hunt and fish. He's not going to be a city boy. The big party schools is not attractive to him. How about the people that don't ever start their business? They don't chase their dream. They play it safe because they're afraid to fail publicly. This mindset, guys, the reason I'm talking to you parents now, because I know a lot of athletes don't listen to my podcast, and that's okay. But most of us have got to understand as parents, this safe mindset trickles down to our kids. They watch us and see, are we willing to push our body to get in the best shape of our life? Are we willing to push our mind and learn a new trade? Are we willing to study instead of just watching college football to become the best we can be? And as parents, are we scared to take the risk? How can we expect our kids to have courage when life tests them if they don't see it in us? So, the story here that I want to share that kind of stimulated this conversation this morning, I was going through a lot of messages. It takes me about an hour to go through Instagram messages and TikTok messages, and I try to do a really good job because I care about that community that I'm building. And as I was trying to talk to Pearson this morning, I said, "Hey, I need you to video your 1,000 calorie shake that you make every night before you go to bed, because all of you know that he's on a path to try to get to 195 by January, and he's working hard towards that. That's going to help him so much in his spring baseball." And he looked at me and said, "Dad, I'll do it." He said, "No problem." He said, I'm going to go lift early, and then I'll meet you back." And that conversation kind of reminded me of how this whole journey started with social media. I started it mainly because there's only so much time in the day, and I recognized how many people was hungry for this information about nutrition. People that didn't have no clue about how to calculate their calories, no clue on how much protein they need, no clue on how many calories they need, carbs, fats, any of that whole process. Well, last spring, his first district ball game, I intended for it to just go on my story, but Mario, the guy that helps me run everything, he put it as a post where I was just literally making Pearson a filet mignon sandwich that I'm sure all of you have saw we do. Well, of course, it went viral. Didn't think nothing of it. And Pearson went to the game, and all of his teammates are gigging him. The opponent team that we're playing was calling him steak filet sandwich boy, giving him a hard time. And he actually went 2 for 3, I think, that day. Hit one off the pitcher's foot, about 100 mile an hour, and all those things. And after that day, we was talking after the game that night. And I always set up and talk to my boys after a game. It don't matter if they go 2 for 3, if they go 0 for 3. And parents, it's important. Spend that time with them afterwards. And afterwards, we was talking about it, how they was teasing him and all the comments and all that. And I could see it bothered him at first. And then how he just kind of shook it off as the game continued on and went out and crushed it. And I'm telling you guys, the metaphor that I'm trying to bring a point across is life will always have critics. No matter what you do, someone will have to say something. And I'm going to talk about the reason for that here on this next one. We're talking about our life lesson, people will always talk. And I've tried to do a good job the last couple of years telling my boys this. And they get tired of me saying this, but I tell them this over and over. If you get big muscles, they'll say you're on steroids. They don't want to see your workout plan. They don't want to see what you're eating. I've got a guy that's in Lovejoy right now, and I've put about 20-something pounds on him. I was talking to him the other day, and I said, what does your teammates eat? He goes, all of them think I'm on steroids. And I just kind of laughed. I'm like, that's awesome. That's what you're doing it right. But if you get big muscles, they'll think you're on steroids. If you lose too much weight as an adult, they'll think you're on diet pills. If you make too much money, they'll say you got lucky. See, here's the truth. People project their own insecurities when they see someone else doing something they wish they could do. So, I know I've got an 11-year-old down in San Marcos, Zane, one of my best supporters. Zane, remember that. When people see you're doing something good, their own insecurities is what makes them want to pick at you. Parents, when you're doing something good, that good is going to bring criticism. So parents, we got to teach our kids that criticism usually means they're doing something noticeable. They're doing something that is worthy. And parents, I will tell you in the next comment is stop shielding your kids. See, we can't always protect our kids from hard moments. Those moments build them. When someone makes fun of them, when they fail, when they get embarrassed, that's not a moment to rescue them. It's a moment to teach them resilience. And I promise you, our job isn't to remove adversity. Our job is to prepare them to be able to handle it when it comes. The hard truth about parenting today, next note. Many parents today, they want to remove all discomfort from their kids' lives. You know, as Pearson and I have went through this process of recruiting, and parents, if you ever want to spend time with me, 5 to 10 minutes, if you've got a boy about to go through this recruiting process or a girl, schedule some time with me. Go to my calendar link. I'll share some time with you. But when Pearson first started going through this, a coach would say, I'm calling here, I'm going to give you an offer here. And, you know, it wouldn't happen sometimes. And he'd kind of get down and he's like, why didn't the coach said he was going to call back or this is going to happen and it didn't happen? And I'm like, Pearson, that's a discomfort in your life and that's just part of what it happens. And that coach, he likes you, but he's wondering, can I do better? That coach is out there looking at other people and all of our parenting days, we got to remember we can't remove all the discomfort from our kids' lives. But will build comfort never builds character. It's the discomfort that builds character. Because real growth happens when your kid faces something uncomfortable, when they get that pressure, when they get that rejection, when it's that embarrassment, and that they learn how to overcome it. See, you're not being too hard on your kids. You're preparing them for the real world. And I haven't did everything perfect as a parent. And I know sometimes me being a little bit hard on my boys, Candace would look at me and say, man, do you think you need to lighten up a little bit? And I'm like, no, I don't need to lighten up. I want to prepare them for the real world. The next point, the comment that missed the point. And I'll explain that. See, there was a story, or actually doing another live, one of the, I don't know if she was a classmate of the boys or something, but she put a comment, why don't you leave your boys alone? You're using them on social media. And of course, I just kind of laughed and I said, young lady, I appreciate your comment, but what you got to understand, my boys got it pretty good in life. I'm not using them on social media. I'm teaching them how to use social media as a tool. I'm teaching them how to look in a camera and how to be able to speak and speak in a way that people will want to listen. I'm teaching them how to shake someone's hand and look them in the eye. I'm teaching them how to treat others as you want to be treated. I wanted her to know my real intention was teaching my boys how to communicate, how to speak clearly, how to make eye contact, how to present themselves confidently. See, I wanted to teach my boys that social media is a tool or it's just a mind sucker of all of these things that's on social media. And if my boys want to go and play college sports, which Pearson is about to commit to a school, he's got to understand this is a business. And if he can look in a camera and project himself well, he can speak clearly, he's going to have some opportunities to earn extra income from NIL deals. This is a business. So I'm telling you that all of what I'm trying to do with my boys is something I would highly recommend with your athletes is don't allow them to be distracted about the negativity. Understand that they have got to understand how to communicate correctly. They've got to be able to present themselves well. There was a research study I was reading the other day talking about college students that come out of school, and it shows that over 85% of them was even uncomfortable to turn their camera on a Zoom interview. 85%. but they can take snaps of themselves with a picture with their hair all messed up and snap it to a girl or snap it to a friend of theirs. So I'm telling you these things. Yes, hitting a baseball may get you somewhere far in life. Hitting a softball, running a football touchdown. But if we can teach our kids, and you guys know how much I love athletics, but listen to me. If you can teach your kids respect and manners, you can teach your kids to confidently look into a camera and speak correctly. If you can show them how to turn on a Zoom, sit up straight, which I'm not sitting up straight, but you understand the point, and look in the camera and have confidence, then later on they're going to beat their competition. It's not just about the social media fame. It's about developing confidence and discipline and presence. The takeaway message: the world isn't easy, guys. It's not supposed to be. I was talking to Pearson today again about, we have more conversations because he's about to leave. Beckett's a sophomore, and he's sitting there thinking, man, I've got forever in order for Dad has these conversations with me. He don't recognize how quick it's coming. But we was talking about, getting to 205 before he gets to college, and we're trying to get to 195 by January, and depending on his linear height, how it continues, we'll try to top out around 205. And I'm like, trust me, you want to get to 205 before you go to the cafeteria food at college. And we're having all these conversations and all this, and I'm like, dude, the world isn't supposed to be easy. See, life challenges us, and it tests our character, and that's what determines who we are going to become. And as parents, guys, we've got to lead by example. Stop worrying about what people think. Take the risk. Start the business. Work on your physical body. Post the video. Chase the dream, because your kids are watching you. And if they see you walk boldly through criticism and failure and all the things that come to you, they'll learn to do the same. In closing, guys, nobody cares. It's up to you. And that's something I've been really trying to pour in to Pearson and Beckett lately. Nobody cares. It's up to you. That's the mindset that separates those who live with regret from those who live with purpose. And I'll end with this right here. If I can leave one message to my boys and to every parent listening, it's this: don't let fear of judgment stop you. Be strong in your values, stand firm, and when people talk, let it be fuel. Thank you guys for joining the Hard Truth Podcast. Guys, follow us on Spotify, Amazon Music, subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. Share this podcast with a friend or family member. My newsletter on jeremyfouts.com is something that I'm really proud of, sending out 2 emails. Follow our YouTube channel. We try to provide as much value at no cost. Producing podcasts, YouTube, all these things is not cheap, and we appreciate the support and you being a part of this community. Have a great day. Let's go.